This is modern human civilization as we know it, a hyper-automated environment where every function of life depends on a continuous cycle of human oversight. Places like Shibuya Crossing represent the peak of this infrastructure, where millions are funneled through a grid of digital signals and automated systems every day. But if every person suddenly vanished, that motion would stop in an instant. Driverless cars would drift to a halt. On the surface, the cities might look normal for a few hours, but we leave behind a world of automated systems with no one to reset the breakers. This seemingly self-sustaining world is a fragile mechanism that begins to unwind the moment we stop turning the gears. Within 48 hours, hospital backup generators burn through their diesel and die. Within a week, the massive hydroelectric and nuclear plants that power our cities will trip routine failsafes. Without a human supervisor to reset the breakers, the power plants shut down and the lights go out globally. As natural gas pressure drops over the following weeks, heating systems fail. In colder climates, towns freeze solid. Pipes burst behind the walls, flooding residential buildings and office towers with thousands of gallons of water. Pets, farm animals, and zoo inhabitants are forced to escape their enclosures or face starvation. Within 30 days, the once orderly and pristine city centers are completely overrun by packs of feral dogs and displaced wildlife, effectively erasing the boundaries between our world and the wild. Within a single month, the modern comforts we take for granted, electricity, warmth, and running water, have ceased to function. The world hasn't just gone quiet, it has reverted to a dark, unmanaged state where biology, not technology, dictates what happens next. Without human management, the elements reclaim the landscape with a vengeance. Unprotected forests ignite into global megafires that burn for weeks, while former agricultural belts, stripped of irrigation, turn into massive dust bowls. In our homes, the decay is more surgical. A single failure in a window gasket or a roof seal is enough to let moisture in. Once that seal is breached, wet drywall feeds mold and rot, causing residential roofs to cave in within 20 years. The concrete towers that define our skylines fare no better. As water infiltrates the structures, the steel rebar inside corrodes and expands, creating internal pressure that eventually fractures the concrete walls from the inside out. Heavy infrastructure fails in spectacular ways. Without crews to paint the steel and replace suspension ropes, the cables of massive bridges eventually snap under the weight of rust and tension, sending the roadways plunging into the water. Within a single century, nature aggressively reclaims the urban landscape. Constant cycles of freezing and thawing dismantle the glass and steel monoliths that once stood as the permanent markers of our presence. After 100 years, the modern skyline has largely vanished. The only recognizable human monuments left standing are those built long ago using stone and masonry, structures that don't rely on the temporary strength of steel. Some ancient engineering even manages its own repairs. The Roman Pantheon, standing for over 1900 years, was built with a specific type of concrete that heals its own fractures, allowing it to weather the centuries without a human hand to guide it. But time eventually reaches everything. Even the Great Pyramids will be weathered by wind and slowly entombed as the shifting sands of the desert sweep over the Giza Plateau once again. In tropical regions, the jungle acts as a burial shroud. As seen with the Mayan pyramids, our stunned cities will likely be completely overrun by forest growth, preserved as limestone hills waiting to be rediscovered by future eyes. Burial is often the only way a building survives for 10 millennia. The stone pillars at Göbekli Tepe sat undisturbed beneath the soil for 11,000 years, shielded from the erosion that scours the surface clean. Underground chambers offer even better protection. The terracotta warriors in China survived for over 2,000 years in a sealed mausoleum, allowing delicate clay surfaces to remain intact with barely a scratch. Our most advanced modern materials turn out to be our most fragile. While our glass and steel towers vanish in a lifetime, our earliest works in stone are the only things that remain to tell our story after 1,000 years. By the 100,000-year mark, the Earth's surface has been fully restored. Where cities like Tokyo once stood, there are only rolling glasslands and forest. The hum of traffic has been replaced by the silence of a world that has forgotten we were ever here. Without the pressure of human hunting or habitat loss, formerly endangered species like the Amur leopard proliferate, reclaiming historical ranges lost to our expansion. On this reclaimed planet, the next great intelligence might arise from our primate cousins, inheriting a world showing no obvious signs of our previous tenure. The surface of the planet has effectively reset. The only biological statue left to signify our impact is the domestic dog, now evolved into pack-hunting feral descendants that carry our genetic legacy into a world without us. To find any real evidence of our technological age, you have to look deep underground. In the stable rock environments far below the surface, our artifacts are shielded from the wind and water that erase everything above. Millions of years from now, deep-drilled seed repositories and nuclear waste dumps will remain as the last recognizable footprints of our civilization. Reinforced subterranean structures, like modern bunkers or subway tunnels, provide the most stable environments for complex materials to survive the erosion happening on the surface. We know deep caverns have this power because we've discovered prehistoric art that has survived tens of thousands of years in protected, lightless environments. But eventually, even these remains are reclaimed by the planet. As tectonic plates slide over the mantle, they take the crust, and humanity's entire record, down into the burning core, subducting our history into molten rock. Our passing will be written in the geological record until the very end, remaining a part of the Earth's crust until the sun expands into a red giant and finally consumes the planet itself.